What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now today I wanted to start a little new series that I've seen a lot around YouTube. I've seen this with a lot of different content creators on the platform, and it is Mock the Mock, a series where you guys would send in drafts, you guys would send in mock drafts with trades and movement and different players being drafted, and I will react to it and grade the drafts. Now I know this is a series that a lot of other YouTubers have done, and I know this is a series that is all over YouTube at this point. However, I wanted to start this series on my channel as well, as I believe it's a good opportunity to get new perspective and new vision for this team, as of course everybody sees this Lions team differently, everybody sees the NFL differently, and everybody has a different idea on how they think the Lions should build up this roster. Now before we get into talking about the mock drafts and before we get into mocking the mock, there are a couple things I wanted to talk about first as far as how I'm grading these draft classes. Now of course it would be impossible for me to know who is available at every single pick for these mock classes, as I was not the one to make them and all I have is the finished product. So instead of grading it based on who is around them and other talent that was available, I will be grading these draft classes based off the talent that these players have shown and my talent evaluation of the players selected, the production that they showed at the college level, because if you weren't productive at college it might be hard to be successful at the NFL level, their team fit, where I see them fitting in with the team and the role I see them playing on the Lions, as well as the value at the pick, whether in my opinion it would be a steal or a reach for a particular player. Now before we get into talking about the first mock draft that we will be going over and the first mock draft that we will be reacting to on this series, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. As I said, only takes 2 seconds out of your day, and you would be helping the channel out more than you could know. But with all that being said, and without any further ado, let's get into reacting to the first mock draft of Mock the Mock. Now, a few days ago, I reached out on Twitter asking you guys to send in different mock drafts that you had taken, some of your favorite mock drafts for a video. And the first person to send me a mock draft is the first mock draft we will be doing today, and that is Devin99's first mock draft that he sent in via Twitter. Now, starting with the number 7 overall pick, the Detroit Lions' first pick in the NFL draft, Devin99, the creator of this mock draft, has the Detroit Lions moving down from the 7th overall pick to the 9th overall pick. He has us trading the 7th overall pick in the NFL draft to Denver for their 9th overall pick, along with the 71st overall pick, which I think is a solid trade. I think you could get a little bit more value out of the 7th overall pick, but you are only moving down 2 spots, so attaining a 3rd round pick and a relatively high 3rd round pick to move down 2 selections is a pretty good value in my opinion, and I think this was a very solid trade down for the Detroit Lions if this were to happen. Now with the 9th overall selection in this 2021 mock draft, Devin99 has the Detroit Lions with the first pick in their draft class, selecting Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. Now, Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa is a 6'1", 215-pound linebacker. In his 2 starting seasons with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, he totaled 142 total tackles, 24.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 1 interception, 7 passes defended, 5 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, including a fumble recovery that went back for a touchdown. Now, in the 2020 season, in the 2020 college football season, Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa was awarded the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, was named a consensus 2020 All-American, and won the Butkus Award, which I believe is the best linebacker in college football. Now, Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa is a very good coverage linebacker. He has very good speed, is a very good athlete at the linebacker position, and just tends to make a lot of big plays in big moments. He did it for the Fighting Irish, and I would project him to do so at the NFL level as well. I think this is a fantastic pick for the Detroit Lions if they were to get Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa at the 9th overall pick. I don't know if I'd quite put him in the top 10 talent range, but I think number 9 is far from a reach for Jeremiah, and I think that this would be a very good pick for the Lions. He'd be a plug-and-play starter day one. He would really help this linebacking core as far as coverage. He'd really help this linebacking core in a lot of different areas. He does struggle a little bit with wrapping up. I've seen as I watch tape on him, as I watch more and I learn more about Jeremiah, he does struggle to wrap up at times and does struggle to tackle on occasion. However, to me, it's not a big enough flaw to really hold against him a lot. And as I said, his coverage ability, his athletic ability, and his playmaking ability to me is impressive. And to me, as far as what I've seen from a lot of linebackers from this class, he could be considered the number 1 linebacker in this year's draft. Now, with the 41st overall selection, the Detroit Lions' 2nd round pick, Devin99 has the Detroit Lions going defense yet again as they draft Richie Grant, the safety out of UCF. Now, Richie Grant is a 6', 194-pound safety. Last year with the UCF Knights, Richie Grant totaled 72 total tackles on the season, 3.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 interceptions, 5 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Now, Richie Grant is a very versatile safety for the Knights. He was a very versatile safety throughout his entire college career. He was very good in coverage for the Knights. He played deep free safety a lot, occasionally, not very often, but he did occasionally play box safety for them if they did need him to step up in that area. And he actually played a lot of slot cornerback as well. When the opponents had a very solid slot receiver that they felt Richie Grant could cover, they put him in the slot quite a bit, as I believe he was the best coverage player on that UCF defense, and they were looking to use him a lot in a lot of different areas to take away the biggest threat, which I do really like. I like that he was given a lot of responsibility as far as versatility and looking to cover the best player on the field at any given point. And I think from that perspective, I really like Richie Grant. As I said, he's a good coverage safety. He's a playmaker. He drives on the football really, really well. He does struggle on occasion with tackling and with angles to the football, angles of pursuit, which I think is probably his biggest downfall, is really his biggest negative. However, that is a very teachable thing. That is something that is teachable. It's not a physical limitation. It's not like it's something he can't do. It's just something that he can struggle with consistently, and the consistency with those angles and his consistency in tackling is a little bit questionable. However, not a big enough issue to regret taking him at the 41st overall pick. Now, my only real big knock on him, my only really big knock on Richie Grant is, to me, he is a deep fielding free safety, and while I think he's a good deep free safety, I think he could be a good free safety in the NFL. I do want to see Tracy Walker play in that position a little bit more. I do want to see Tracy Walker move to the deep free safety, as I believe that is where he plays his best football, and that is where I believe he will reach his maximum potential. However, without knowing the defense that Aaron Glenn is going to look to run, and without knowing the defense that the Lions are going to run in 2021, it's hard to knock this pick. For all we know, being a former defensive backs coach, Aaron Glenn could look to play a 2 high safety set a lot of the time. He could look to play a set where he has 2 safeties, sometimes even 3 safeties with 2 safeties high. So I think being a former defensive backs coach, there's a pretty good realistic chance that we do play a lot of our defensive backs. So I do think if we got Richie Grant, as I said, a very versatile defender, there's no lack of space, and there is no reason that Aaron Glenn couldn't find a very efficient and very fulfilling role for the projected 2nd round pick. Now, moving on to the 71st overall pick, the first pick in the 3rd round for the Detroit Lions. Devin99 has the Detroit Lions taking Jabril Cox, the linebacker out of LSU. Now, I've had Jabril Cox mocked to the Detroit Lions for a couple of weeks now. In my first mock draft, I also mocked Jabril Cox to the Detroit Lions. He's a 6'4", 231-pound linebacker. Last year with the LSU Tigers, and with his first year at the FBS level, he totaled 58 total tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 interceptions, 5 passes defended, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 touchdown. He's a big athletic coverage linebacker. He does need to learn how to wrap up a little bit, does need to learn a little bit more form tackles, and does need to learn to not lead with his shoulder versus wrapping up. However, that is very teachable, very similar to Richie Grant. He is a guy that has a lot of potential, is a very good coverage guy, and would bring a lot of versatility and would bring a lot of very good coverage ability to this Lions defense. Again, his only real problem is his ability to wrap up on tackles. However, just like Richie Grant, that is a very teachable thing, and that is something that our new linebackers coach, and that is something that Aaron Glenn should be very easily able to teach the young, talented coverage linebacker. Now, with the second pick in the third round, with the 72nd overall pick in the NFL draft, Devin99 has the Detroit Lions taking their first offensive player in this draft as they look to select Dwayne Eskridge, the wide receiver out of Western Michigan. Now, Dwayne Eskridge is a little bit undersized. He's slightly undersized at just 5'9", 190 pounds. And last year with the Western Michigan Broncos, he did not have the craziest statistic. Now, last year with the Broncos, in just 6 games for Western Michigan, Dwayne Eskridge totaled only 33 receptions. However, in those 33 receptions, he did total 768 yards and 8 touchdowns. If it was a regular season where Western Michigan played more than 6 games on the season, I have no doubt that Dwayne Eskridge would have been a 1,000-yard receiver and would have likely been at the top of the NCAA in receiving yards and probably receiving touchdowns. Now, while Dwayne Eskridge did not ever record a 1,000-yard season with Western Michigan, he improved every single year. He's a very good run after the catch wide receiver. He runs in the low 4.3s. He's a 4.3 speed kind of a wide receiver, which is something the Lions should look to add in this year's draft, is a lot of speed and a lot of playmaking ability. Eskridge brings both to the team. As I said, runs in the 4.3s, gets incredible separation. You saw that during his time at Western Michigan and during the Senior Bowl. It was on display a lot during that week of practice and during the Senior Bowl game. He's a great yards after the catch wide receiver, creates very good separation, runs very good routes, and I believe with the 72nd overall pick, if we were to select Dwayne Eskridge, it would be adding a wide receiver with a very diverse skill set, a wide receiver that can get open down the field, a wide receiver that creates good separation, and a wide receiver that is very good in yards after the catch, and none of which the Detroit Lions currently have signed to the roster for next season. I believe he's going to be one of the sleepers in this draft. I believe Dwayne Eskridge is one of the most underrated wide receivers coming out in this NFL class, and if we are able to select him at the 72nd overall pick, I think it would be a phenomenal pick and a phenomenal addition to this Lions offense that is looking to rebuild and rework this young wide receiver core. Now, with the 88th overall selection, the third pick in the third round for the Detroit Lions, Devin99 has the Detroit Lions taking their second offensive player in the draft as they look to select Trey Sermon, the running back out of Ohio State. Now, Trey Sermon is a 6'1", 215-pound running back with the Ohio State Buckeyes last season. He totaled 870 total rushing yards, averaging 7.5 yards per carry while getting into the end zone 4 times. Now, he did that in just 7 full games of play. I'm not counting the national championship game because it was only 1 carry for 2 yards before he broke his collarbone, so I don't really count that as a game against him. So in these 7 full games that he played, he did total 870 yards and 4 touchdowns. As I said, averaging 7.5 yards per carry. Now, Trey Sermon is a very tough running back to bring down, and I think that's his biggest strength as a running back, is he's just a very difficult guy to tackle. Now, Trey Sermon is not going to be a guy to break off an 80-yard touchdown run. He's not going to be a guy to outrun people. He's not really going to be a guy to break off big touchdown runs. He's not going to make defenders with good angles look silly with his pure speed or acceleration. However, even with the lack in athletic ability, even with the lack in pure top-end speed and top-end acceleration, Trey Sermon is just an incredibly tough runner to bring down. In his worst game of the season, his worst full game of the NCAA season, he averaged 4.3 yards per carry, which is very, very solid, which is still not a bad mark for a running back at the Ohio State. He's comes from a long line of very good Ohio State running backs, and although he is one of the more underrated running backs in this class, I do view Trey Sermon very highly. I think he's a very productive, very good running back when he's in the groove, and you could see it at the end of the season last year with Ohio State. He was the lifeblood. He was the engine of that offense. and really was the reason that Ohio State was able to win the Big Ten championship, and the reason that Ohio State was able to beat Clemson in the college football semifinals. You know, Trey Sermon isn't to me the running back that I think the Lions should go after. I want to see the Lions get a home run hitter. I want to see the Detroit Lions go and get a running back with that 4.3 speed, 4.4 speed, a guy that can break away for that 80, 75-yard touchdown and really just flip a game on its head in one play. And while Trey Sermon isn't that guy, I do believe his skill set would be utilized very well in Detroit. I think Deuce Staley and our offensive coordinator in Anthony Lynn, both former running backs, would be able to get a lot out of Trey Sermon's talents, and I do think he would be a very good complement to DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson. I believe that trio of running backs would be able to have a lot of carries and a lot of production for the Detroit Lions next season, and while none of them are really breakaway home run hitters, all of them average a lot of yards per carry when they're at their best, and all of them are incredibly tough players to bring down in the open field, which I think is a very underrated ability for running backs. You know, I think a lot of people focus on breakaway speed or pure power, and while I don't think Trey Sermon, DeAndre Swift, or Kerryon Johnson are top of their field at any of those three spots, all of them are just difficult players to bring down in the open field, and I think that's something, if we were to add Trey Sermon, he would bring more of that to the running back core, and if we were to rotate him in consistently, I don't think you see a lot of production drop-off between him and DeAndre Swift or Kerryon Johnson, which I do think would be a big addition to the team. Now, with the 112th pick in the NFL draft, Devin99 is sticking to the offensive side of the ball and is actually double dipping at the wide receiver position as he looks for the Detroit Lions to bring in Nico Collins, the wide receiver out of Michigan. Now, Nico Collins is a 6'4", 215-pound wide receiver out, as I said, out of the University of Michigan. In the 2019 season, Nico Collins totaled 37 receptions for 729 yards and 7 touchdowns. He did opt out of the 2020 season to prepare for the NFL draft, and although he was never really a featured target at Michigan, he was never really a featured target. I believe 37 receptions in a 12-game season was the most production, and I believe 37 receptions in 12 games was the highest number of targets and the highest number of receptions that Nico Collins did record at Michigan in a single season. Now, I'm not sure why his target level was so low. I'm not sure why the lack of production was there. I don't know if it was a scheme thing. I don't know if it was a coaching adjustment. I don't know if it was just that Michigan doesn't like to throw the football his way. I don't know if it was a trust thing between him and the quarterback, or if it's just the fact that Michigan wasn't a good passing offense when Nico Collins was there. I'm not quite sure the exact reason as to why his production and his volume of targets and receptions was so low. However, even with the low volume of receptions, he did make the most of it on every single one, averaging a lot of yards per reception and really being an effective wide receiver at the college football level. Now, I do like this pick for the Detroit Lions being a later round pick. I do believe Nico Collins could be the direct replacement for Kenny Golladay. Both have similar size, both have similar speed. However, I believe Nico Collins actually separates a little better than Kenny Golladay while still having very good contested catchability and while still being able to go up high point the football. And, you know, in a one-on-one situation, Nico Collins is the guy that you can just throw the ball up to and trust that he is going to go get it and he's going to go beat the defensive back out of the air to get you that big reception on the boundary. Now, with the 154th selection in the NFL draft and with the Detroit Lions final pick in this mock draft, Devin99 has the Detroit Lions selecting Marvin Wilson, the interior defensive lineman out of Florida State. Now, Marvin Wilson is a 6'5", 305-pound interior defensive lineman. In his time with the Florida State Seminoles, he totaled 109 total tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, 5 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. He has good hand usage, good quickness, and a very good motor when he's rushing the passer. I like him as a prospect. I like him as a player. The only real concern and the big concern for Marvin Wilson is his injury concerns. His 2019 season was ended with a hand injury. He had a hand injury late in the 2019 season, which sidelined him for the remainder of that 2019 season. And after just 6 games in the 2020 season, he did have a leg injury that sidelined him for the rest of the season, as he did only play in 6 games this season for the Seminoles. Now, I believe Marvin Wilson's talent level is far above the 154th overall selection. However, as I said, the biggest drop and the biggest knock for Marvin Wilson is that injury concern, and I think that, you know, he does struggle to stay healthy at college. I don't know if that trend will continue in the NFL. However, it seems more likely than not, based off the history of the Detroit Lions, that when you take an injury-prone player from college, those injury struggles continue in the NFL, and that's the only thing that really deters me from Marvin Wilson. However, with the 154th selection, I do believe the reward is far higher than the risk, as if Marvin Wilson can stay healthy, he can be a very consistent and very good member of your defensive line for a very long time. Now, with all of that being said, that is the entire mock draft, and that is the entirety of the first episode of Mock the Mock. If I were to give this draft an overall grade, I would give it a B+. Again, I think you can get a little bit more value out of the 7th overall pick. However, as they're only trading down 2 spots with Denver, I do understand the fact that we're only getting a 3rd round pick out of it. I do like the linebacker picks. I think the Lions are getting 2 very good coverage linebackers in this class in Jeremiah Owosu, Koromoa, and Jabril Cox. I do like the good coverage safety in Richie Grant. I think he's very solid. However, as I said, I'm a little unsure about his role, as I do want to see Tracy Walker play of that more. I do want to see Tracy Walker play more of that high safety role. However, you know, I do think Richie Grant is just a good enough player where if the Lions do draft him, I think Aaron Glenn could find a very good position for him on the field, regardless of where he's putting Tracy Walker, and I think he can find a way to put Tracy and Richie Grant on the field at the same time and still maximize both of their potential. So that one a little unsure for me, but still far from a bad pick. I like both the wide receiver pick in this draft as well. I think Eskridge is a great separation, great speed guy, great yard after the catch, and I think Nico Collins, as I said, is a great contested catch wide receiver. The Lions in this mock do address the wide receiver position twice, getting 2 vastly different skill sets, but skill sets nonetheless that the Lions need both of in order to be successful next season and in order to replace the talent that is leaving for next season. A good running back, in my opinion, Trey Sermon for me is my running back 5. I have him below the 2 North Carolina running backs, Travis Etienne and Najee Harris. For me, Trey Sermon is my 5th running back. As I said, runs with good power, has incredible contact balance, and in general is just very difficult to tackle in the open field and is very difficult to bring to the ground. I think that's a very solid pick as well. And then you end the NFL draft with a good, solid interior defensive lineman in Wilson, who, as I said, is slightly injury prone and does have a couple question marks as far as can he stay on the field. However, when he is on the field, he's a very productive and a very good defensive lineman for the Seminoles, and I believe will be a good defensive lineman in the NFL. Now, with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. That was my first episode of Mock the Mock. As I said, very solid draft class to kick this series off with. As I said, B+ overall grade, a couple question marks here and there, but overall nothing to me that makes me think, oh, there's nothing here that can work, or oh, one of these players is going to be a very bad pick for the Detroit Lions. Now, with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Please, if you did enjoy this series and if you did enjoy the first episode, please leave your mock drafts down in the comments below. You could either leave them in the comments or you can DM me on Instagram or Twitter. Both of those will be in the description below, as well as obviously at the end of every video. However, with all of that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Of an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If you are new to the channel, as I said in the beginning, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It helps the channel out more than you could know, and if you could do so, I would be greatly appreciative for it. But with all of that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all tomorrow with more Lions content. Thank you all so very much for watching. Bye, guys.